Well, hello and welcome back to 9 Years in China with me, old teacher Kenny. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're beating the summer heat out there. Um, don't forget, watch my videos, subscribe. I need some subscribers, just like every other YouTuber. Today, I thought I'd cover a very important subject for you guys wanting to go teach in China. Um, you know, teaching is not for everybody anyhow, and being able to leave your families and go abroad is also not easy. So you have to be a certain kind of person to even want to do something like this. If you, some people just need to get a notch in their belt, as far as teaching, I was taught in China for a year, blah, blah, blah. And that's okay. Lots of people do that. Go teach over there for a year or two, come back to their home country and carry on. For me, teaching in China was more of a career. I needed to change a career. I needed to change, and I was in my mid-40s then. But let's talk about a couple things. Kind of weird what you want to teach. What you want to teach is pretty easy. If you like little kids, teach them grade school and let them just mimic what you say. If you like a very, very controlled curriculum, if you need to follow and do every little thing you're told, you can get a job at a language school in the big cities or language school anywhere, and you can teach the little kids. For me, I'm in my mid-40s. I wanted my years teaching. When I started, I wanted it to be something important. I wanted to teach people that needed teaching, that wanted teaching. So I had a different outlook. But anyhow, if you want to teach kids, it's easy enough to teach kids. You get involved in language schools. Some of them teach adults in the evenings and things like that. So there are lots of opportunities for that. Probably most of the online opportunities are teaching little kids. I think trying to teach a 3 or 4-year-old anything is very difficult, especially a language that is not their own. And that's the reason because they can't even speak Chinese good yet. Then you're going to introduce a new language to them. Now, while they can learn fast, they don't have a clue why they're learning English. So for me, it was a useless idea to even think that. I wanted somebody that could appreciate me, my time, and what I had to bring them. And I taught in colleges. The whole time I was in China, I taught colleges. I taught English majors mostly. So people that wanted to be teachers, wanted to be interpreters or translators, wanted to work for a foreign company and use their English, they already had an idea about their future. And I wanted to help them achieve that. So you need to decide what level you want to teach and go for that. Like for me, I wanted to teach older people, older students. Here's another deal too. Yeah, where you would want to teach. If you have the constant need for companionship, if you have the constant need to associate and rub elbows with your peers, maybe the big city is for you. The Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, all those Qingdao, all those places that have millions and millions of people. They have a nightlife, and whatever. If you need to go out and party and drink beer every night, you need to go to those kind of places. For me, again, I'm older. I'm very independent. If you are a very independent person and you're very interested in the culture, if you're interested in the people, if you really, really, really want to understand China, Maybe look at the smaller cities, the lower tier cities. If you want to see the real China, Beijing and Shanghai is not real China. It's China for TV. So you have to kind of decide, what kind of person am I? What do I need? Because a small city in China is still 1 million people probably. So that's another deal. You'll have supermarkets and you'll have things to do. So you need to maybe decide if you have a more independent nature, an exploring nature. These lower tier cities can be quite appealing. The salaries, though, will be a little lower. If you're teaching college in a small Chinese city, maybe a decent starting salary is 7,000 yen a month, which is a lot more than most of the Chinese people will make. You need to look at what parts of China would appeal to you. I'm a photographer. I like to go out and explore and take pictures and things, so I'm looking for lakes and rivers and parks and scenery and that kind of thing. I wanted to go to places where when I was not in class, I could go out and work on my other craft. So that was important to me. I wanted to go, I'm from Arkansas, so I wanted to go to some place, maybe it was a little similar, made me feel a little bit like home. So I love Anhui Province and Jiangsu and parts of Henan and things, but I wanted to go to places that kind of felt a little like home. Now, when you make these decisions, stick to them. You made them because they appeal to you. And you will be hired by a middleman, or usually your first time you'll probably be hired by some kind of agency that locates teachers. And the same thing happened to me. They kind of bounced me around a couple of ideas before I accepted my first opportunity in Fuyang, Anhui. Later, and I think today now, I think you can look. The schools learn more about advertising. They learn more about how to contact teachers, and you might be able to deal directly with the school, and you may get a little bit more salary because they don't have to pay a middleman. Make sure my Wei Xing. Yes, that's my Wei Xing. And they don't have to pay a middleman, so you might be able to get a little bit more money that way by dealing directly with the school. I did that most of the time I was in China. I learned really quick, kind of weird, what I wanted to do and how much money I needed to make and that kind of thing. The small cities appeal to me greatly. I love the people. I love mingling with the people. I love the exploring, and not to mention taking photos and things. So you go and you find a school. And I remember in the smaller cities, even though you might be making a lower salary, it's more relative to the economy, so you'll be able to live just fine. Your school has to give you a place to live and electricity and cable and a washing machine and all that kind of stuff. So you'll usually get a nice enough apartment that you'll be able to make do. Now, one thing I'll tell you real quick. When you're dealing with the schools, you make sure that your apartment is, fully furnished. Your bed has clean, you have a good mattress and sheets, and everything's clean and new, and make sure your kitchen is supplied. And what I mean, make sure that you have the necessities there. Okay, if not, you're going to spend a lot of your money getting kitchen utensils. For some reason, they kind of don't want to go all in sometimes on the kitchen, but they need to make sure you got your utensils, your plates, your pots, your rice cooker if you're going to eat rice, which I tell them to get a rice cooker. Make sure your stove is working, or you have a sufficient hot plate, a microwave. Make sure your kitchen is up to snuff, because that's where you can spend 1,000 yen in a heartbeat updating your kitchen, and you don't need to. They need to take care of you for that. You can't bring the kitchen to China in your suitcase. You know, when you come to China, you got 3 suitcases and maybe a carry-on bag or something, and that's all you got room for. So there's your shoes, your clothes, a few books, and that's about it. So the school needs to do their part, and you make sure they do. If not, do not accept the job. There's too many jobs in China to let some school screw you around. Okay? So decide what kind of person you are. Decide what kind of lifestyle is important to you, and take advantage of that. You know, are you independent? Are you a needy person? Do you need nightlife? You know, do you need lots of structure? You know, for me, the whole time I was in China, I got to develop my own curriculum. Even though they might suggest a book, they did not demand that you use a book. I learned really fast in China what was important, and is to keep the students engaged and occupied and having fun enough that they want to come to your class. You know, lots of times in China, the foreign teacher is nothing but an entertainer. You know, China says you've got to teach English. English is important. English is the world's problem-solving language. And the government says you got to have English education. And nowadays it goes way, way down to the elementary schools and middle school and whatnot. And English is important. It's not, nowadays the government's changed a little bit, but that's another story. But anyhow, they want you to do this, but how you do it is usually up to the school. The government does not recommend certain books for English education or anything like that. But the schools are told that you got to offer this. It's a must. It is a compulsory subject. So every school can be a little bit different. You need to find out their expectations of you. When you talk to them, you know, you'll have a good time talking to the people from the school. And most of the people are very, very nice, really, really good people. But you got to get down to the nut cutting, so to speak, so you can live comfortably. Also, make sure, while I'm thinking about this, make sure that you have a Western-style toilet. Do not accept an apartment with a squat toilet. Chinese have lots of experience with squat toilets, but you don't want to be sick and have diarrhea and things like that and have to use a squat toilet. Just trust me on that, and do not accept a job that does not have a Western-style toilet. Now, going back to the schools. If you find a school you like, or if your middlemen find a school that appeals to you, the salary seems okay, the school can provide you with what you need, you know, and go for it. It's a great life teaching in China if you go to where you will be comfortable. There's lots of things to see and do in China. Teach your classes and then go out and have fun. Don't stay at home. You'll only experience China one time in your life, probably. I did my 9 years, and I needed to come back to America for some personal reasons. But those 9 years will stay with me every single day. Every time I wake up, I will remember something about China. It never fails. I absorb Chinese news. I talk to my students. Still, I talk to my very, very first students from 10 years ago. Usually at least one of them, it seems like every day. So you will make friends, and those people will help you. When you go to those smaller cities, you'll need the help of your students a lot. And they're usually always ready to go play with you. It's important to them, the bond. There's something about the bond in China especially between you, the foreign teacher, and your students. So they will help you when you need to go do something, when you need to go to the store, when you need some translation. Usually they're there to help you. Usually the school people, they can be busy. Now, sometimes they're very effective, and when you go to the bank and things like that, you usually have somebody from the school with you to do all these things. Uh, but other than that, you can go run around with your students. You know, like all my students, they're all in their early 20s, and you know, you go out and go out and eat and run around, go shop, go take pictures, anything you want to do. If you're going to cook at home, usually you can get a house full of students in a heartbeat. But that'd be for a different video. But anyhow, make a good decision. Stick with it. Go to China and see if you like it that first year. If everything appeals to you, you may find another place you want to go, or you may be totally contented to stay at your current city. And oftentimes, if you're good and you don't cause any kind of trouble or anything, they'll try to hire you again. You know, they need foreign teachers there. It's an extreme need. There are some schools that never get a foreign teacher. Imagine that. Because a lot of people just want to go to the language schools and teach little kids and make a little bit bigger salary. But there are a lot of colleges that never get a foreign teacher. There's just not enough of us to go around. So think about that. You can go almost anywhere you want to go and get the job, your dream job. But do a little research. Don't go blindly into anything, okay? But it's something to think about, and I hope I see you again soon. I hope you make a good decision, and China welcomes you with open arms, okay? So have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.